right, we're back here for the third round as we test out super close modern matchups. I'm going to be playing the mono green Hardened Scales Affinity deck that's been popping up lately. Christopher Larson's been doing really well with it on the Grand Prix circuit. It's been kind of around in modern for the last 6 months or so.
It popped up over the summer, and then it sort of died down when Azorius Control got really good because that matchup is quite poor for it. And now that Control has been suppressed a bit by Dredge and some of the other linear decks, we've seen this deck pop up again because it's very explosive. You can kill on turn 3 a good portion of the time, and turn 4 after that, and you have some ways to play into the later game. Ravager's really good there, Hangerback Walker, things like that.
Yeah.
So the deck is very powerful. It's a little inconsistent. Ancient Stirrings helps it's there. It's not quite as explosive as traditional affinity decks because it doesn't use Mox Opal as well, but the Scales draws are way more powerful than anything regular affinity does. So.
Oh, yeah. The major draw of this deck is the card Hardened Scales. My problem is that the marquee tutor in the deck, the Ancient Stirrings, can't find it. And I think that that's something we brought up earlier, in that Ancient Stirrings is traditionally insanely good in decks where you're able to use it to search for your marquee cards, whether that's specifically a land or an artifact or what have you.
Yeah, and that is an issue. So you have pretty polarized hands of whether or not you have Hardened Scales or not in your opener and can cast it because you're a little light on green sources. But
that's true.
So there are some inconsistencies in the deck. So it's definitely a deck that mulligans a fair bit, but sometimes it just kills out of nowhere too. I've looked at battlefields where I thought I had 3 turns and I was dead the next turn.
Yeah, and I think that the weird math that comes into play with things like Walking Ballista and Arcbound Ravager, even just sometimes the second Hardened Scales can change the turn completely, let alone the first one. And then Inkmoth Nexus also just basically cutting your life total in half in weird spots. It's just an inherently powerful deck that if it draws Hardened Scales and Arcbound Ravager together, it does some really busted stuff. And if it draws one or the other, it does some pretty good stuff.
Yep. And then on my side, I am playing the deck that I piloted in Las Vegas. This is Grixis Phoenix. Grixis just for a black splash for brutality on the sideboard. So mainly is it a list that I pioneered with Crackling Drake over Bedlam Reveler, a card that I think is much better in this version of the deck. I wrote an article about it last week, so you can go and check that one out. With a great name, by the way. I'm going to plug this name. It was Beats by Drake. Not a name that I came up with. It was someone in Las Vegas whose name escapes me, so I'm sorry.
Beats by Drake?
Yeah.
That was my brother's dropping bombs first week 1.
Yeah, get wrecked, sir.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what to tell you.
Just so you know,
independent
that was week
invention.
1.
Yeah, just 2 great minds thinking alike.
Yeah.
Regardless, Crackling Drake does a lot of good things to the deck. One, you can play it with a reasonably full hand, which you generally have because your deck has a lot of cantrips. It flies, which is super important for putting a clock on people, and it's a 1-shot kill a huge portion of the time. It's almost always a 2-shot kill, so it puts more pressure on than Bedlam Reveler. Usually gets cast around the same turn. I've been super impressed with it. I think I might go down to 3. Sometimes you can get flooded with them, and you do have a lot of cantrips to find them, but overall was super impressed with the card. Very good in mid-range and control matchups as well when you're a threat light deck, so getting a little bit of card advantage is great.
I'll say this. Bedlam Reveler, I never got Bedlam Reveler to work in an Izzet strategy. When Bedlam Reveler first came out, people were like, oh, this card just fits perfectly in a deck with a bunch of Serum Visions and Thought Scours and whatever. And then you realize you get to turn 4 or 5, and you have 5 cards in hand, and if you play Bedlam Reveler, you're not gaining any cards. The time in Modern when Bedlam Reveler became really powerful was when people started pairing it with black. Using discard spells to take care of your opponent's stuff, and not having cards that replace themselves. Specifically, you don't want stuff like Serum Visions. You want stuff like Faithless Looting, which fills your graveyard, kind of nets you minus a card, but also you have these cool graveyard synergies, and it just pushes you further towards Bedlam Reveler without keeping cards in your hand.
Yeah, agreed. And if you think about Arclight Phoenix, that is a card that plays better with cards that replace themselves. So you can keep chaining through and keep recurring it. Thing in the Ice, the same thing. So you can aggressively transform it. And so these threats in the deck that Crackling Drake is in over Bedlam Reveler all go well together. Whereas the mono red list, they play a lot better with Bedlam Reveler because they empty their hand with burn spells. But they're not as good with Arclight Phoenix. All the red lists, whether they are mono red with more burn and maybe Runaway Steamkin, mono red with Hollow One, or red or Mardu, which are just base red lists. All of these decks don't have a lot of things that replace themselves, so they're better Reveler decks, but they're not as good at playing with Arclight Phoenix. So I think this deck is a little bit more coherent with Phoenix. Phoenix is still a really powerful card. I think the mono red lists are quite good. They're a little bit more consistent in putting pressure on their opponent with Monastery of Swift Spear and things. I'm not a fan of Runaway Steamkin, just too fragile of a card. But the mono red lists, I think, are quite good. Jerry had a good article about Arclight Phoenix in general, but he focuses a lot on the mono red and Mardu lists, so you can check that out as well if you're interested in this card. But as far as the version that maximizes the efficiency of Arclight Phoenix, I think the base Izzet lists do that way better.
Yep.
You get to play defensive Arclights a lot more often, so the deck is more tactically versatile rather than just being a straightforward aggressive deck. You do have draws where you just turn for your opponent, but you can also stay back, block a bit with Thing in the Ice, use some removal, generate card advantage, and almost function like a combo control deck where you just set up this one big turn, you bounce their board, attack them for 10, and they're just dead.
Combo control deck?
And is it?
This blue-red?
All right, I would like to say that in the last 4 years, this is the first time this will ever happen on Versus Live.
What?
Okay.
Thing in the Ice is being played against Todd Anderson.
How does it feel?
First time for everything.
Huh. Are you sure?
You have never played against it.
Have you not played that Kiln Fiend deck against me before?
I don't believe so.
I think someone's played that Kiln Fiend deck against me before.
Okay, well,
but
to the best of my knowledge,
fair.
but I do want to say that Sloopy Goopers has a Twitch
you have to say it. That's the rule.
What was-
Sloopy Goopers just subscribed to Twitch Prime 2 months in a row. Thank you,
I'll take-
Sloopy Goopers.
I think I remember calling out Sloopy Gooper's name a month ago.
Yeah, and I've got a question from F Freak MG, and they're asking, do you think that if you added Arclight Phoenix and Faithless Looting to Jeskai, it would be a better deck?
No.
All right, good answer. Todd?
Not the kind of game that Jeskai wants to play.
I mean, I don't think Faithless Looting and Snapcaster Mage should probably go in the same deck. That seems kind of weird. And if you're not going to play, we've already went over this. If you're not going to play 4 copies of Snapcaster Mage in your Jeskai deck, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
That is true.
All right, let's do a roll to see who goes first. You want odd again?
Yeah, I'll take odd.
You won last game, right? You
Yeah.
won first last game. Even.
Okay. Todd on the play this time around.
You actually played this particular matchup at the Open.
Played
last
it this
week, I
exact 75 on 75 twice in that tournament.
believe. Cool.
Well,
And was victorious both times.
One real quick question. This is a good one. Lol, J-Tech asked, does Ross stream? If not, he should. Question and statement.
I do not currently, but that might change.
Nice.
Awesome.
Well, I know, Brad.
Will it
you
actually
Brad,
or
you started streaming a lot recently.
Arena
right?
is amazing.
Arena is very
It's
good.
so much easier to stream on Arena.
I just get up and I want to play Arena.
I'm going to get a basic island, go to 19, and cast a Serum Visions. Try to set up my draw for turn 2.
Yep.
And where are you, island? There we go.
Any questions while Ross is Serum Visioning? Since that usually takes a
No,
second?
but we've got another Twitch Prime sub for 2 months in a row from Cots and Pots.
Okay.
The actual names of people are way better than Brad's fake names.
Fake names? What are you
Wait,
talking about?
what?
These are real people.
Okay, so this is a hand where what I'm lacking right now is a threat, and I don't want to take time in this matchup to cast a bunch of cantrips, so I'm just going to bottom both of these. Pass the turn to Todd.
All right. We'll save that for next turn, I guess. We're gonna go ahead and play.
Which 2-drop you got?
They kind of do like the same thing. I guess this one,
Yeah,
But-
you usually want to get Overseer down.
just because it's not active immediately.
I'll go to 18.
All right, your turn.
Wow, and Ahmed just had a tier 1 sub as well. We are getting the sub train rolling.
Cedric, give me more money.
I'm gonna Manamorphose, making
Dude,
red.
don't get ahead of yourself yet.
Look, we've been doing Versus Live now. How many months? 2 months?
Faithless Looting with a red floating.
Yeah. Just do your thing. Put your 2 Arclight Phoenixes or 3 or 4 onto the battlefield.
I'm actually going to discard a land and a Temper and manage the Temper on the Overseer
Nice.
and pass the turn.
I love a Fiery Temper. So, speaking my language, Ross.
Okay, stirrings, not skills.
All right, so we're gonna be able to play 2/2 drops next turn. So I think I just want to take Overseer and play it, and then next turn if he doesn't kill it, we definitely can't kill him unless we just like peel Hardened Scales or something. But maybe.
I will say while you're debating on that, there's a lot of people in here, Ross, that want to watch you stream due to your informed political views and average magic abilities.
That is the most accurate assessment of me I've ever heard.
Also, streaming is basically like communism, right?
Whoa. We'll let Ross have
our socialism, excuse me, because it's a bunch of people giving you $1 so you can live. I just made our director crack.
Let's start with this turn with Serum Visions. And wow, these draws are not good. Yeah, let's bottom both of those. Don't need those this turn. And play a Spire Bluff Canal. And how do I want to play this turn? I think I'm going to I'm going to go for another Phoenix. So let's Manamorphose again, make red.
Okay.
And cast a Faithless Looting, red floating.
Yep.
And we have not found any Phoenixes, which is a tilt. So
you have another removal spell, though?
Yeah, I'm going to discard 2 lands, and I'm going to bolt the Overseer with my red floating and pass the turn.
All right. So while Ross's deck is doing all the cool stuff that I want to be doing, I'm just going to play a Mimic named Construct, play an Archon Ravager, and then hit you for 1 again.
16.
Your turn. Now, next turn, I can maybe threaten to kill him with Ink Moth, but I don't think I'm gonna, unless he just taps out and he dies too. But even, I guess I can protect myself from Gut Shot, but I don't even have enough artifacts yet anyway.
So right now, Todd has, this counts as 2, so this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can attack for 7 with the Ink Moth.
Yeah.
Which is going to make it hard to kill me. Even 2 artifacts in your hand are not enough. Worker plus another artifact, or just the Scales. So, this is a kind of interesting turn. I sort of sequenced this game to play Crackling Drake here, and now I have another option, but I think that option will stay there next turn. So let's play Mountain, Crackling Drake, and draw a card. Okay. It's currently an 8/4.
Nice.
That is a very impressive. Wait, this is modern.
Another Forest. Happy to see that. Probably the worst card in Todd's deck at this point. Welding Jar is quite good.
Oh, is Ravager not a construct?
It's a beast.
Oh,
yeah.
What? Can I get an old Arcbound Ravager? Because I'm pretty sure Arcbound Ravager used to be a construct.
It used to not have any creature type.
Oh, crap.
Do you want to name Beast with this instead?
No. I just want to change how I played the whole game. What the hell?
Or are you going to not play Steel Overseers?
No, I would have Ancient Stirring something different, and I would have played this on turn 2 instead of trying to put an extra counter on something on turn 4.
Well,
all right, I'll name Beast, whatever, dude. Yeah. I don't care. That's stupid. It's literally made of metal. That's kind of the definition of a construct.
Well, just is it, okay? It technically isn't just titles like types a construct that we created, so we can just call it whatever we want. It's technically a construct.
You're just rossing me right now. Can you please stop?
Archbound Ravager is a social construct.
Yeah.
Whatever, dude.
Okay, so I'm at 16.
Let's get it.
What happens if I block Ravager? My guess is you use the worker to make this a 4/4 and then just regen it. And I trade for the worker in the jar. What if I block Inkmoth Nexus? Then you would have to, in order to trade for my Drake, you would have to use the jar and the Ravager, or maybe leave the jar around and lose the Inkmoth. I think those are the only 2 reasonable blocks. Blocking the worker is obviously bad. It just gets sacked to Ravager and I take more damage. Blocking the Mimic only saves me 1 point and doesn't do a whole lot. I'm not under threat of dying, and so I think I can just safely block the Ink Moth here. And if Todd wants to like go all in, making a big Ink Moth.
Ooh, Flavor Judge Xander the Greatest did look up the definition of a construct. It's something made entirely out of metal. So
I guess if Arcbound Ravager has a soul, is what you're saying?
Okay.
All right, hold on. All right, let me figure this out. So I want to kill the Drake. I'm definitely putting at least 3 counters on this, which means Ravager's going, and I'm trying to figure out what creature I want to stick around. Like I could.
I muted Ross. Move your mic down a little.
Thank you.
All right, I'm just gonna do this.
Just make it a 4.
That's an aggressive play.
I kind of want to make it
so
a
I take-
5, just
Yeah,
so it's lethal in two hits.
I thought you would do that as well.
But that would require sacrificing Worker, and I would keep like Darksteel Citadel around, which actually might be better.
I mean, it makes sense all around, right?
Yeah.
Just have it lethal in 2.
Okay, so you
Yeah.
keep the Citadel around, make that a 5. So I take 2
Yeah,
damage.
and now my ballistas and stuff are a little bit better. So
Yeah. So I go to 14 life. Crackling Drake dies from this. That gets regened by the jar.
go. If he has another Crackling Drake, it makes my Inkmoth play a lot worse, though. That's the problem. Like I could just sack Inkmoth and hit him for, let's see, the Citadel. Back up. I'm just going to go for real damage because a single Arclight Phoenix basically bricks this whole shebang. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So
this has
that
2
at
counters.
2.
All right.
This
So
is blocking here.
we'll just sack this here for sure. This is 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, whatever. Take 8, and you're at 8.
I go to I'm at 8.
Go. This is no regen. This is just hitting Ross for max damage with a big Arcbound Ravager that can move its counters around at will. And leave me with 3 potentially lethal attackers next turn.
So if you say it has a will, that it has a spirit?
yeah, it's a
soul?
spirit. Yeah, it's a spirit.
Yep.
Thing in the ice, Steam Bounce pass.
All right, he has 3 cards in hand. He has 2 mana up, but he's used a bunch of removal. So I might just go for it here, but that's generally how people lose to... I'm just going to kill you. I just don't believe you.
Walk.
All right. Sack this, 6, sack this, put it here, kill you.
Bolt.
All right, you win. I quit.
Trigger.
Yeah. So basically, I have the option to try to play a game where I try to beat Thing in the Ice with an Arcbound Ravager that's 6/6, and that's just like not feasible. Like I can try to play a longer game here, but I don't think I'm going to win because Thing in the Ice bricks off my Arcbound Ravager. So
Yeah. I know, like I have a bunch of lootings in the graveyard, so I'm very likely to be able to transform this thing next turn if I have a bolt.
yeah, I mean, okay. So here's something I can just attack with this, right?
Yeah.
And then you can block this if you want, right? And then okay, modular target this, and then you just bolt this, and I have this left versus a Thing in the Ice. So if I don't go for the kill this turn, the odds of me winning the game basically go to 0.
If you don't go for the kill, you have to just do nothing. You're just like Inkmoth go, and then all I do is untap, draw my card, flashback Faithless Looting. This goes to 3, and like, see what I have. And I'm gonna discard land, temper you, bring that to 2, and play this land, and now have Thing in the Ice on command between Lightning Axe and Bolt.
Great.
So I can literally now just transform Thing in the Ice at instant speed, and that's a real big problem for that deck, especially when you're on a Ravager draw.
I agree.
All right. Well, we're going to go to sideboarding real quick. We'll be back in 3 minutes as the boys get their sideboards prepared. Any questions should be sent into the comments below, and I will send them over that way.
All right, we're here for sideboarding in the mono green Hardened Scales Affinity versus Grixis Arclight Phoenix. From my side of things, Steel Overseer, not very good against Gunshot. Just going to throw that one out there.
Overseer has historically, in traditional Affinity, been the worst card against removal-heavy decks.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't do anything that comes into play. It dies to everything. Usually it's been things like Electrolyze and Sweepers, but yeah, Gutshotting your 2-drop for no value.
Yeah, I think something like Arcbound Worker, it's if they have Gutshot for it on turn 1, it's okay. Like you're trading 1 mana for it, and it's just there to help enable things like Arcbound Ravager and Mox Opal, and something like Steel Overseer. You're kind of relying on it to be this big push towards your end game, and if your opponent just uses 0 mana to kill it, it's a pretty big feel bad. What we're going to be bringing in, though, we're going to bring in a couple copies of Dismember. This Ross's version has Crackling Drake, so it's a pretty sweet answer to that for 1 mana. But it also takes care of Thing in the Ice, which is the scariest card they have against you.
Yeah.
Grafdigger's Cage, Relic of Progenitus, these will hopefully slow down his really busted draws, but they're more just like cheap artifacts that slow his deck down and buy me some more time to like find my Hardened Scales and go off. And then we don't really have another card that we want to bring in. It's either a Damping Sphere or a Karn, and I think Karn is better, just because Ross's deck is likely to have a lot more removal after sideboard.
Yeah, in the post-board games, I don't need to go as fast. So if you just take a turn off and use a card to play Damping Sphere, I just have more time to trade 1-for-1 with your threats, land a Crackling Drake or a Thing, and start working my way towards that. There are going to be some draws where it's disruptive, but it's going to be pretty hit or miss, I think. I'm also I've been vocal about the fact that Graveyard Hate is not very good against a build with Crackling Drake. Cage is okay simply because it just stops Arclight Phoenix cold and stops the flashback on Faithless Looting, which is pretty important. Those are the only 2 graveyard element things of the deck. So Cage stops both. Relic, I think, is pretty slow at stopping Arclight, but at the very least, it'll cantrip, and it's a 1 mana artifact, so there's a low opportunity cost for it. But I would not bring in Tormod Script, which is just a really low impact card. On my side, like Todd, I have a card that I think is very tempting to bring in. I actually did in our top 8 match. I did not in the Swiss, but I did in the top 8 match, and it was okay, is Anger of the Gods. It's quite good against the go wide draws of the deck that don't involve an Arcbound Ravager, and it's quite good against Hangerback Walker. If they ever make tokens, it can clear those away, or can clear a cheap Hangerback without giving them Thopter tokens. The thing is, if they're not doing one of those things, making a big Hangerback or going wide with an Arcbound Ravager, you're a huge favorite to win regardless. Yep. So I think Anger of the Gods just sweeps up the draws that you're matched up well against anyway. And for the most part, if they do have an Arcbound Ravager or a big Hangerback, it's a really awkward 3-mana sorcery. So I'm not going to be bringing it in here. I'm going to stay pretty aggressive with Arclight Phoenixes, which are really important chump blockers for Inkmoth Nexus, which is a really threatening card that can kill you on turn 3 or 4. So getting a 1-turn reprieve against it is pretty important. What I am bringing in is some instant speed removal, a Braid, very good against the Arcbound Ravager draws, Engineered Explosives that can sweep a lot of things, including Hardened Scales, and then the 1 Ceremonious Rejection, which is quite effective. I'm cutting Fiery Temper, which I've come to realize is just the worst card in the deck, and I think I want to cut it entirely. It's an okay card in game 1 just because it gets you value off your discard outlets. Yeah. But it's really awkward to cast against all the creature decks. They all have ways to punish you playing sorcery speed.
Okay, whatever.
And then a couple of the worst cantrips.
We're already running super late today anyway, and you're just talking about 4 sideboard cards. Plus, I got to get to some questions, and there's even Jeskai control questions I'm not even going to because we're going to kick it off with Jim Davis MTG. I feel like I know him, but he...
I feel like we've known a lot of the commenters today.
Yeah. Jim Davis MTG, question for Ross. While working on the Grixis Phoenix deck, did you decide to not tell your friend and teammate Jim Davis about it before or after you decided it was great and you were going to play it into the top 8?
Wow. Wow.
Jim has been going after me for not telling him about this deck for a while. Here's the thing, Jim. If I had told you about this deck when I figured out it was good, which was Tuesday before the tournament, would you have built it and played it? Probably not.
He streams every day, right? He would literally just build it and play it on
Ross
stream.
Probably didn't want it on stream.
Tuesday.
Yeah, I certainly did not want it on stream. So I wanted to keep it under wraps.
That's fair.
But the next time I develop a really sweet modern deck, I promise you, Jim, I'll let you know.
All right. Why no Flame Jabs?
Because of the density of cantrips in the deck, you don't have problems recurring Arclight Phoenix later in the game, which is the role that Flame Jab plays in the mono red list. It gives you a way to get a bunch of spells. Into things. So it's just unnecessary and an underpowered card.
Alrighty.
My hand's great.
So is mine.
Okay. I guess we'll start. Let's lead off with Ancient Stirrings, looking for the goods. We don't need another land, so I guess
you found a beast.
I did find a beast randomly. Can I get some contested cliffs? I'm
Yeah.
in my deck.
Oh yeah.
I can activate it.
I'm gonna play Scalding Tarn and pass.
Okay. Let's go Citadel Moxable.
Do you mean contested Warzone?
No,
I mean
contested cliffs.
sir. It's not in Modern.
A Ravager's fine.
It is one of my favorite Magic cards of all time.
Stirrings is fine.
Saw the red green activated ability. I thought it was the wrong one.
I played a lot of this card. Throw up Hunted Wumpus
Brad, what do
up
you
there
think?
too. This was a standard playable card back in the
Brad,
day.
what do you think? Animation
What-
module or Relic of Progenitus? This is 100% dying.
What's in the rest of your hand?
Bad. This. But I can play this and make a token, which gives me some pressure.
Yeah, go with that.
I mean, yeah, I guess if he didn't like looting on one. Okay.
All right,
anyway.
we
take
got
the
Hunted
animation
Wumpus up on
Yeah.
this. On
Okay,
the
I'm
screen
gonna
right
fetch
now,
and go to
Todd.
17 for Steam Vents.
We got contested cliffs up?
No, we already got Contested Cliff.
Oh.
That's already done. We
What we
already
got
showed him. Now we're showing him Hunted Wumpus. This
Yeah,
was
I think you mean
standard All
I
Star.
think you mean Humpus Wumpus.
Humpus
which is-
Wumpus.
There's a story behind that.
That is some art, let me tell you.
Yeah, Hunted Wumpus. I played so much of this card.
All right, how many of those do you think I main decked at a Pro Tour once?
4.
Yes.
Yeah, with Contested Cliffs.
No.
Oh.
So I'll scar myself on and stuff.
Yeah, it's fine. I was playing. That was Honolulu 2006.
All right, real quick, while you guys are finishing this up, then we'll take this game
Lot of
seriously.
zoo.
LOL. JTech asks, is Tannen actually ever going to get a trophy? And I can answer that no. No, he will not.
Wow. Just. Wow. Wow.
Huh. How do I want to play this?
I think you should tap out for a thing in the ice right now and see what happens.
I think I should Lightning Bolt this Arcbound Ravager
It's dead.
and pass the turn.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
So, for those watching, I aggressively fetched the Shock Land on turn 1 because this deck wants to have a lot of dual lands in play to guarantee you can cast different strings of spells. Sometimes you need to Faithless Looting and Bolt. Sometimes you need to chain a bunch of blue spells.
Mhm.
The module's fine. So it's usually worthwhile to take a little bit of damage. I wasn't under a lot of pressure and shock one time when you maybe wouldn't.
Go. Drew Hardened turn. I'm going to pop. So I could have played module into Ballista, pay 1, make a 1/1 token. But since I drew Hardened Scales, I'm going to play this a little slower.
Go to 16.
What did you draw? Shattering Spree? Okay.
I'm going to get a basic island. And then I'm going to play an Engineered Explosives on 1. And I think I'll... I think I want to pop it immediately to make the Opal
Yeah,
worse.
please wait.
Yeah.
Please wait. Ooh. Crap.
3 mana.
No. This isn't turned on. I'm
Yeah.
stupid.
Couldn't play Karn.
Yeah.
I can't wait to Ceremony Rejection at Karn.
Wow. Rude.
Okay, so Ballista is a 1/1 right now.
That's true.
Go to my turn.
Mhm.
Ooh.
The one of Engineer Explosives really did me
It's
in.
Serum Visions.
Sure.
And that's neither of these seems very good. So yeah, I'll just bottom. Oh, I guess this one's fine. The other cantrip? Yeah, that one's fine. 1/1. And then I will Faithless Looting.
Okay.
And let's discard a Crackling Drake and an Arclight Phoenix. And then I will Serum Visions.
Okay.
And we definitely want this land. The other one can go to the bottom. Go into the combat step and get an Arclight.
Okay.
And attack you for 3.
17.
Pass the turn.
This is just such a sad fight.
We'll take up.
Yep. You can get a Mox Opal.
Yep. So this is under Karn.
Let's get it face up. So
Man, that's fine. I hate it face up because it looks like it's on the battlefield.
well, I just want to know what options you have.
Sure. All right, attack for 1.
I'll just take 2 instead of 1, or I guess 3.
1 you.
Yeah, so I'm a 13.
Here, 13. Wow, I just missed a bunch of.
Yeah, I fetch shocked on turn 1 and fetched on another
Okay,
turn.
your turn.
Okay, let's play this fetch, crack it, go to 12. This time I will not shock. I think my mana's fine.
Was your opal active?
1, 2, ballista.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if he had played the second opal, I would have just got shot at in response.
Mm-hmm.
So the second opal was never going to do anything. At least this
Yep,
turn.
that's the downside of Karn giving your opponent the choice. Usually you're just like minusing Karn to make giant constructs, which maybe I should have done.
And, well, I want to see how big this is, see if I can maybe kill you next turn.
Sure.
So 3, 4, 5, it's only a 7. So if I attack you to 14, and then this is
Play 4
10,
spells?
4, or just a lightning bolt.
Mhm.
I think I can at least ignore Karn for a turn. Like, the Drake's going to kill the Karn, so let's attack you.
Okay, 14.
Pass the turn. You're going to get an activation out of it this turn and have it. It's probably going to die next turn if I want it to die. So I think this is a more efficient use of resources over multiple turns. Okay, Hangerback Walker doesn't do a whole lot here. Inkmoth was the card that was scary.
All right, minus. I need a
Get a construct.
No, we don't
Do
have
we
one. All right, we got a Nick Miller construct token for now. We're gonna get one in a second.
So that thing's a 3.
It is currently a 3/3, but it can get bigger at a moment's notice. Go.
I guess this could get awkward against a Dismember.
Gotta get Matthias on the battlefield. Currently 3/3.
Do you have a Dismember?
I can answer that for you. For $10.
How much is winning this match worth to you, Ross?
2, 3.
Ross is doing some maths.
Yeah, that's 7. Okay. I'm gonna shock myself. Go to 10.
Okay.
I'm gonna cast a thing in the ice.
Okay.
I'm going to play a chart of course and trigger the thing.
Okay.
I will discard a Steam Vents. I will send both at you.
All right. Activating Moth Nexus.
Activation is fine. Still before blocks, I will Lightning Axe it, discarding a Manamorphose. Trigger thing.
Okay. It has Summoning Sickness, so I'm not gonna tap it.
Want to
Yeah,
sacrifice
just
it to the.
gonna-
Oh, you have the Dismember till.
Yeah, I can't tap it for 1 because that's Summoning Sickness, so I can't activate this. So I'm just gonna go to 10. The axe will resolve. I'm gonna take 3 down to 7, and this goes to still a 3. Okay, it was 4 for a second.
Yeah. Pass turn. I figured with the thing here that it was likely that even if Todd had Dismember, the thing is going to kill him on the next turn. I've dealt with the Inkmoth. So unless Todd can threaten lethal with this 3/3 construct, which is really difficult to do because Ravager doesn't actually add anything to it.
With Hardened Scales.
You have Hardened Skills. Okay, so I guess if Todd had Dismember and Ravager, I was in rough shape. So that's a 2/2.
Attack.
I will take 4.
Okay.
I got a 6.
All right, I'm gonna sack this. Go to 8.
That's 1 tap sack?
Go.
So now that is enough. So Serum Visions trigger the thing.
Mhm.
These are both bad. I will cast Faithful Suiting from the graveyard, trigger thing.
Yep.
Your creatures go back.
Yeah,
Fireflight comes back.
As long as you have one more thing.
Yeah. I have discard 2 Phoenixes into Gutshot you.
That is a lot of damage.
Yeah. Because of the Gutshot, I had it even without it,
Wow.
Phoenixes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, that was
That was
cool.
Yeah, that was really sweet.
The transform thing with a way to discard, so I return the Phoenix and then rediscard it.
No.
You do that a lot.
We were all watching.
Yeah.
We saw it
That is-
in action. It was impressive.
Yeah, I had the Dismember on the Crackling Drake the turn before. Were you actually threatening lethal? Like I actually just considered.
Yeah, I had the Gutshot.
Okay, I was considering like once my Inkmoth died, I had to assume that I was dead.
Yeah. I needed to chart a course into any spell for it to be lethal through the core.
Mm-hmm.
So
your deck is sweet. I will say that.
yeah, so we are almost out of time. We
Well,
can run over a
we
couple
can fill
minutes,
the
but
queue
here.
questions, yeah.
But you wrote an article today on StarCityGames.com, did you not?
I did.
Did you talk about this deck?
Not very much because I wrote about it last week. This
Okay.
week was more about assessing Modern and talking about what decks I...
Wait. So last week, Tuesday,
Yeah.
you wrote about this deck.
Yeah.
You did not inform Jim Davis about this deck.
Well, last week, Tuesday, was after Vegas.
Yeah, we had a
Never
week off.
mind.
Yeah, we had a week off.
My detective skills are faltering.
Yeah, I understand. I keep my calendar by Magic tournaments too, so when there's a week off, sometimes you can get thrown.
That was
Yeah.
during I was horribly sick for a week straight week.
Yeah,
Not a lot went through there.
the old
But-
holiday classic.
Yeah, so you wrote about this. So did you have some updated things in there? I probably should check the article for updates for today.
So I wrote it right after the tournament, like the Monday after. So I didn't have a ton of updates immediately. I don't think Fiery Temper is very good. So I'd rather look for other things there. I'm not sold on the 4th Crackling Drake. I also think that you need the sleight of hand should at least be another instant. I know some people have been messaging me working on the deck and have been trying Opt over Thought Scour, and they liked Opt more.
Question.
I generally just want more instant speed cantrips. I initially thought the deck would play more sorcery speed, so I added sleight of hand, but actually being able to transform thing in the ice at instant speed is very relevant. So I don't think sleight of hand should be in the deck. It should be some combination of Opt and Thought Scour next to Serum Visions. But in general, I think I've just not been very impressed with Fiery Temper, and I think the 4th Drake might be too many.
Question.
Yes.
Is one of the people you're working with Jim Davis?
No, well, it's not that I'm working with it. It's just that people have been working on the deck independently and messaging me about it.
But he is a teammate still, correct?
Yeah, well, if he wants to work on the deck, he can message me.
Well, do you hear that, Jim Davis?
Just add him to the
Yeah.
DMs. He's gonna slide right in.
Yeah,
As my dad says sometimes,
my DMs are...
telephones work both ways.
That's a great
As I
dad
tell-
phrase.
Yeah.
As I tell my dad, also
They don't.
telephones work both ways.
Yeah.
All right, let's get some more questions. We got time for a few. We're already a little over time, I think, but it's okay.
Thing the ice and Gutshot are just so
all right.
good.
This might take a long time.
You okay, Ross?
All right.
One second. Ross, you literally got me so jacked about watching the Vegas team open when I saw your deck, and Ross told me about his deck last week, and he's just like, "Yeah, I'm playing Thing in the Ice. I got a Gutshot in my deck." I'm just like. Ooh. And then
These are
he's
all my
just like,
favorite cards.
yeah, and Bedlam Reveler is not that good. So I'm playing Crackling Drake, and it's been really good. I'm just like, whoa! I'm like a real life the Vince McMahon meme. Like I'm like, ah.
Hold it together, John. Hold it together.
All right. So this question, I think we could go off on a lot of tangents. So we're gonna have to 2 minutes each. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that's all you get. Do we
Sure.
have a timer?
I'll take 1 minute. I don't
Okay,
even
we can
want
figure one
2
out.
minutes.
2 minutes each. F. Barkles asked, so this question has been bugging me for a long time now, and I was wondering if the team has any insight. Who let the dogs out? Todd, would you like to take the first crack at?
Well, I know
Who
who's
let
going to
the
put the
dogs
dogs
out?
back in. Alabama's going to put the dogs back in.
Oh!
This weekend, SEC championship game. Broke that. All right.
My answer to this question is a little bit different. Who put the dogs out? My annoying
not-
neighbors who let their dog bark at 2 o'clock in the morning all the time.
Great.
Good thing I'm a heavy sleeper.
Real answers are way more than I thought I was going to get out of that one.
Yeah.
Actual answers. So what would you replace the fiery tempers with?
I want more removal spells. The
Flame
thing is,
jab.
you don't want 2 mana spells. I mean, like, you just want to lower the curve as much as possible. Like, I think maybe a main deck of Braid might be good because like dealing with Vial when you have Thing in the Ice in your deck is really important. So maybe you can make a concession for an Abrade. I could see a second Lightning Axe and like cutting a Chart, of course, and having more discard outlets that way for your Phoenix because Chart is also weak and that cuts a 2 mana spell. So maybe you cut a Chart and add a Lightning Axe and an Abrade so you keep the curve the same, and then you get to add some other like cantrip, just a 10th cantrip if you wanted it.
What about you already splashing black, right? What about Gurmag Angler? Get a Gurmag Angler from there. If you're cutting a Crackling Drake, just you probably need a second black source. What about splashing green instead? Okay, we go the Teamer route. You get Life from the Loam, Flame Jab, Hooting Mandrills,
You get Ancient Grudge on the sideboard.
Ancient Grudge on the sideboard.
I've explored some other splashes.
Oh, yeah.
You know what card I really would love to have, but is not legal in Modern? Obsessive Search. It's Faithless Looting, discard search, draw a card, cast 2 spells.
What's Obsessive Search?
It's
It
just
is-
blue instant draw card, Madness Blue.
It was the card that was not good enough in block constructed madness, because literally all it did was turn your Careful Study into like a Charter course.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
Yeah.
It's not good. Trust me.
Well, you just need to cast a bunch
I
of
guess
spells.
things change. That's
Yeah.
fair. You do,
So
Do you guys think that Hardened Scales is overhyped?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I do too.
I think
does it have a lot of hype?
There's a lot of hype, yeah.
Okay. Like the hype build recently, it's been more popular. I think I was high on the deck a few months ago when it first came out, and I was curious as to why it sort of went away. Then I realized it was the poor matchup against Control, so it makes sense that it's reemerged now. But in my experience, that deck is very inconsistent. Like some of its weak draws are really bad.
Yeah, it's hard to explain, but it's a deck where your draws are basically an 8+ or a 2-, and in Modern, like having a fail rate that's as consistent as this deck's fail rate, like without having like a super good Ancient Stirrings draw ever,
And your draw there in that second game was reasonable, I would say.
Yeah.
Like you drew multiple copies of Hardened Scales, you had Ravagers, you had Hairbacks, you got a Karn active, and I won very easily.
oh yeah.
So you needed to do those things a lot faster. And the deck has a bit of a speed issue because it does not enable Mox Opal very easily
Yep.
because you don't have as many cheap artifacts. So if I was playing the deck, I would look into maybe adding the 4th Weldon Jar, maybe finding another 0-mana artifact. Todd, during one of the breaks, suggested Mishra's Bauble.
Yeah, some other. That's not me saying.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
just
other people.
I've heard about Mishra's Bauble in the deck, and it seemed pretty sweet.
Yeah,
so.
like, I mean, even Ornithopter might still be fine. Like, it's good with Steel Overseer. It's good with Ravager when you have Hardened Scales, another flyer to put things on. So I think you need to enable Mox Opal a little more easily. I've also... Somebody suggested Noble Hierarch. Is just an accelerant.
Very speaking my language.
You're like turn 1 Hierarch, turn 2 Scales,
And if
2
you're
drop,
gonna-
turn
just-
3 double 2 drop. They're
Just play
dead.
Ban Eldrazi. If you're gonna just play Ban Eldrazi.
Oh,
All right,
Noble Hierarch's a really good
last
card.
question of the day from Snow Jiggles is ask Todd when he's going to do a Teamer Phoenix deck, please.
I mean, we were just talking about splashing green. I think Ancient Grudge would be great in the sideboard. Although you do still want to Braid against the Vile decks, so maybe Grudge isn't that as good. Like you just don't have room for many of them. I don't know what else green gives you.
Life from the Loam,
You definitely don't
Flame
want.
Jab,
You definitely don't want
that
Lone
interaction.
Flame Jab.
Shooting man.
Hooting Mandrills.
No.
These are
you talking about?
not cards I'm interested in.
Well, shut up. I don't know what else to say. I'm sorry.
Well, we're going to end the stream today on Shut
Yeah.
Up. Take it away, Todd.
All right. Well, we got more versus left for y'all Thursday. I'm not sure who we got queued up. It's definitely not going to be me. I'm pretty sure.
I think it's Brad and me with you in the side.
Cool. I'll be in the side, Brad.
Yeah, in the
Side,
side.
Brad.
Yep. And we're going to be playing some more Modern, all in preparation for...
I thought we were playing Standard.
Well,
No.
we should be playing Modern because we have an open this weekend. But, I don't know.
We'll talk to Cedric
Okay,
about that.
we'll figure it out. But same
Maybe
bat
a little
time,
of both.
same bat channel, 1 p.m. Twitch.tv/SG Tour, where you're watching right now. What else we got? I got you.
We
your
got
article
Baltimore
went
this
up yesterday.
weekend,
Baltimore
yeah.
this weekend.
Who's commentated that one?
Cedric and Patrick.
There we go.
Nice.
I knew
Nice.
Robert would be on that.
Yeah.
And as Nick Thos in the chat was saying, that I have to play Jeskai just so they put me on a round 1 feature, and we can get in another Patrick Sullivan just rant about how bad Jeskai is as I lose a close 1-2 match in round 1.
I would love to hear the Patrick Sullivan rant if you lost round 1 to Voice of Resurgence. Because he rants about that card a lot too.
Or you lose the dubious challenge again.
I mean, yeah, like we already had like the
Yeah,
golden.
That's ridiculous. Like, if Voice is at
But
least
that's
a
great.
card
I
that sees
won
play.
2 tournaments back-to-back weekends, and then I play a third week tournament, and I lose to dubious challenge in round 1. It's like, well, the luck is gone.
Yeah. Anyway, that's going to do it for Brad Nelson, myself, Ross Merriam, and Director Rob. Thanks for watching. We will be back on Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure to tune into that. We got a bunch of articles and stuff on StarCGames.com. SCG Tour this weekend for SCG Baltimore with Patrick and Cedric. That's it. Bye.
Good.
Bye.